How's everybody doing? Um, I hope this finds everybody well. I um, don't want to, excuse me, be so random and seem as if I'm so scattered. In my last video, it was very, very, very hard for me to discuss some of those topics in terms of humility and really have you understand where I'm coming from and where, writing a resume and I every kid that I work with that goes off to do great things, uh, I love and appreciate, and I love seeing them reach their best and um, follow all the different things that we talk about that have become so cliche: the resilience, the perseverance, all those things. Actually, really embodying them, and that if I were to ever say that I had some sort of um, influence, not just influence, but something to do with their success or their well-being, I would be a very arrogant individual. So I'm just very proud of so many of them. And I love the young guys coming through here that are seeing some of those guys and what they can become too. Um, so that's why I stuttered and stammered. So today I'll try to be a little bit more clear and decisive in talking about the four Stoic virtues. Virtues are basically defined as behaving with a high moral standard. I like to think of it as a quality one holds that is viewed as morally good. Um, and so there's a lot of those. One that seems to be reoccurring is probably the hardest one for me, and I'll get to that last. But the four Stoic virtues, in no specific order, are temperance, prudence, justice, and courage. Um, Prudence is to use reason and good judgment in all affairs. So I really liked when Ross Perot would say it wouldn't be prudent. It was a perfect thought, and I thought that oftentimes we need to use prudence in certain discussions and certain viewpoints more often using reason. And I think oftentimes this prudence gets kind of is synonymous with wisdom, and so we need to bring more wisdom and strong reason to our judgments in all affairs, political and economical and social and even internally. We need to make wise decisions. Justice, it's establishing and determining rights in accordance to equitable lawful action. And I think that when we look at justice, um, we have seen a gross display of justice in America, and we have seen that it was always determined that society is not just determined by its citizens, but how its prisoners are treated, what they're incarcerated for, and all that. And I think in justice, we now everybody is very good with their justice on social media. Um, they're very good with their justice and ranting and raving and being able to be the sage on the stage, um, but not really stepping up and doing what is truly the just thing at times. And these virtues can really segue into each other easily. Um, Courage is the moral strength to withstand and uphold right action in the face of fear, danger, humiliation, failure, or treachery. So courage, often things like charge headfirst into that, or sail across the stormy sea. It's also be a voice when no one else is being a voice. Um, to be courageous is oftentimes speaking up when no one else is. To say the uncool thing, but the right thing. So there you go. Standing up to say the right, prudent thing that is just. Then also the last one that is very hard for me is temperance. That's self-restraint. Um, I talk a lot. Certain actions get me really fired up. I have a temper. Um, I would probably say I have an addictive personality. So when I do something, I really go kind of full into it. So when I got into rock climbing, I was all about rock climbing. When I was a cyclist, I was all about cycling. Um, And I think that's kind of the personality, um, that I have, is that addictive personality. So that self restraint is the hardest one for me to reach. Temperance is a very difficult one, but I'm not going to say that prudence, justice, and courage are these things that easily come to me. Um, and when we look at temperance, prudence, justice, and courage, the four Stoic virtues, we should try to draw and segue into each one of those, right? How can we live a temperate, prudent, just filled, and courageous life? And I would suggest that you look deeper into the four Stoic virtues. I will talk about another term later, and another video. But the four Stoic virtues have been very good for me to reflect on, and how I live my life, how I try to live my life, and understanding fully in the way that I was trying to talk at the beginning about other people, and how with great humility I don't feel as if there's anything I've done. And I actually think that, what I told the kid the other day, I said, I'm not a role model, right? Um, I'm kind of like the bizarro role model. I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do to not be like me. I am not one to follow. I am not one to model your life after. If anything, I am the one to show you how to live a better life than me. And that is with great truth and great humility that I say that. And then lastly, I wanted to quote Epictetus because I love the dude. Uh, I'm really pulling for him, really hoping he was a good guy in his life. Um, but he says, and I love this because it's so true, and I think it'll be my response the next time um, that somebody kind of comes at me, or somebody says something about me, and and I have to be better about talking about people. We all do it. We fall victim to that. We talk about other people. It's a really bad quality. It's something we shouldn't do. He says, and again, I'll try to read clearly. He says, if a man has reported to you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make any defense to what has been told you, but reply, the man did not know the rest of my faults, for he would not have mentioned these only. Basically, he's saying, well, he doesn't know how flawed I am and all the other mistakes that I make. And it's a very self deprecating, truthful, kind of humility based statement. Like, he wouldn't have said just that if he knew everything bad about me, right? So you're basically owning your faults. You're understanding that people can be treacherous, and that's where courage comes in. You have to be courageous even when treacherous people are around. You have to, be wise about it and say, listen, let them say what they want to say. Why are they talking about me? And if they're going to talk about me, why don't they talk to me? And I'll list all my faults, everything I do wrong. I'll clean my closet right in front of you. So I think when you're talking about humility and everything like that, it is not just self-deprecating. It is not just striving for mediocrity. It's understanding that you have weaknesses, as we've talked about, and it's understanding um, how we all do, and just owning them. But going back to the four Stoic virtues, really temperance, prudence, justice, courage. I have a hoodie that I've had printed. It's actually my logo. It's a trademark logo that you train physically, and then the four Stoic virtues are a reminder on how to train mentally, how to train in a way that you're living a virtuous life. And I think when you can really get to that point where you're living a virtuous life and you are doing those things in everything you do, you're going to be happier, and you're going to be better, and you're going to attract that type of energy, and it's going to cross socioeconomic bounds. It's going to cross, um, you know, academic bounds, educational bounds, everything. You're going to be able to speak to another human being, um, no matter who or what they are, what they've achieved, what they haven't achieved, where they come from. You can show signs of compassion and love without language. Um, because you can show that, and how to be wise in that situation. um if you don't know sign language, if don't share the same language as another person, this 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 that sort of stuff can show, like, love, compassion, support. And so we can live in a better way. We can show certain way to behave in society if we can, try aim to be more virtuous and follow the four stoic virtues. So I hope this was at all helpful. If not, I hope it just makes you think a little bit. It's not to teach you, but like delve deeper into the four stoic virtues, and have fun with it, and see if it's at all useful for you.